to Marawa Sports Worldwide. Live across Canada, Mexico, and the USA at the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
All right, we got the Far Post editor live from Monterey. That's Mthokozisi Dube. Mthogo, thank you so much for your time. Good evening or good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning and good evening to the shareholders of this beautiful show. Hope everyone is good and excited ahead of this coming Bafana match.
Well, I think everybody's just talking about their plans, where they're going to be watching the game. Are they going to be sleeping, setting alarms, or just doing an all-nighter? But we'll get to that in a second. Mthokozisi, just let's off-ramp a little bit. And I know that you've got the latest. What's happening around Langelihle? Who is he? For those who don't know, what's happening with Kaizer Chiefs? I mean, is there a deal that has got real momentum, or are we just kind of still playing games there?
Yeah, look, I think Langelihle, a very exciting 21-year-old winger who plays for Stellenbosch FC, came through Amazulu's development. First season, this was the second season in the senior team at Stellenbosch. First season scored 2 goals in 32 games. This season, 9 in 39 in all competitions. And obviously, you'd understand, I mean, when a player has done as well as that, then there is a lot of interest around him. And what has happened in I think early this month, we carried a story on Far Post that Kaizer Chiefs were interested in the player, and they were obviously going to use an Ashley Dube, who is wanted by Kevin Hunt at Stellenbosch. But then Stellenbosch then came back and basically put a 16 million rand price tag on this 21-year-old, you know. So it's that
16 what?
16 million rands. 16.
Wow.
21-year-old winger, you know, who's had 2 solid seasons in the top flight. So very interesting. I think it also just shows us, I mean, some of these transfers, you know, how they, you know, happen. I think we've seen a more or less similar story with Fawaz Pasadine, who was also, I think, he ended up at Mamelodi Sundowns, you know, around that same fee, which is quite interesting when you look at the transfer fees in South Africa at the moment.
Sure. So as far as Kaizer Chiefs is concerned, is that the only thing? Because there was a voice note yesterday that was saying that they are very inactive in this window. So outside of what you've just talked about Langelihle, anybody else at Chiefs?
Look, I mean, we know they've already announced the signing of Thabo Mloisan, coincidentally, who comes from the very same Stellenbosch and joined them on a free transfer. And then, obviously, there's, you know, going to be a few exits. I think we saw today, they've just announced George Matlow, whose contract comes to an end at the end of this month. He obviously is now linked with Stellenbosch again, you know. Quite interesting because he was also part of that equation. You know, players who would have gone, you know, the other direction. And you do get the sense that there is interest in filling up certain positions, you know, within the squad before the new coach comes in. You know, very clear that I think the Langelihle pursuit shows you that left wing is a position that they are looking to fill, but obviously if that 16 million, you know, sounds a bit steep. There could be, you know, other options that Chiefs could look at. You know, someone like Seluleko Mahlambi, who's at TS Galaxy. You know, so I think we'll keep an eye on the stories and see what direction they take in terms of their transfers.
All right. So because of time, let me push you here. I know that Pirates have been very active in the market. What kind of story here, Mthogo, is this telling us about, you know, Pirates' activity and the growing rivalry now with Mamelodi Sundowns?
Yeah, look, I think over the last couple of years, you felt they wanted to close the gap on Sundowns, finally winning the league after 14 years. And having won the league, they've not stopped. They have gone all out just to beef up and strengthen their squad. Very interesting, because the coach of Pirates is on record as saying that the next thing he wants to do is to go on the continent and win a Champions League. So they've gone into the market. They've signed a very interesting player, Matome Mulai from Leicester City. Not too sure though if he's ready to get in there and compete now. I mean, looking at the number of attacking midfielders that they have, that he will be competing with. Tetele Mtiane has joined Swangani Zulu, a defender from Richards Bay. Bushale Ngwatu looks like a player for the future. He's a winger from Siwelele. They've also signed a Kampani Lungu. Maybe the exciting one is Neo Rapo, the left back who was at Siwelele, 19-year-old. He was part of that under-20 AFCON winning team, went to the World Cup as well, that experience. So quite an exciting, signing. Apiwe Paliti as well, but he's going to be loaned back to Siwelele because he plays the same position as Neo Rapo. So quite a lot of activity by Pirates.
Okay, let's shift to what everybody's been waiting for. You've been able to attend the press conferences. Togo, I don't know what you've picked up, though. Hugo Broos, from the clips that we got this side of town, is sounding very confident. He's sounding like somebody who knows what happened in the past two games, can now be elevated in something really memorable, really special, something we can all savor for many years to come. What did you pick up?
Look, the first thing that piqued my interest was when I saw on the FIFA app who they were bringing for the press conference, Yaya Stole. I said, wow, this is interesting, because, I mean, we know what happened against Mexico. Comes in and I want to hear what he's going to say. And, I mean, he cuts a confident figure, very calm, very positive, spoke about how the team had supported him through this, difficult, period after that game. He speaks about the support of the coach, but also just takes us into the Bafana camp and says, look, everyone, in camp is positive and pumped up for this game. There's a sense that we could actually make history and become the first South African team to come out of the group and get into the knockout stages. Hugo Broos, calm, but not answering our questions,
Like what? What did he say?
Just avoiding. I mean, for example, my question to him was that South Korea have actually, in their participation in the World Cup, they've played 4 African countries. And in those 4, they've only won 1 and lost twice and drew once. I mean, just before this World Cup, they lost 4-0 to Ivory Coast. Of course, it was a friendly, but I think my question to him was, obviously in their analysis, they would be able to pick some elements of that these African teams possess that would be problematic for the South Koreans. Because, I mean, I spoke to even journalists from there. They said we struggle all the time against African teams. And he just changed. He says, no, I never talk about tactics. I don't want to talk about tactics. I'm like, no, you're not talking about tactics. What have you picked from the South Koreans? So, yeah, he really didn't give us anything. I mean, there was literally nothing to tell besides just the confidence and him saying that he wants to end his Bafana stint on a high note. He wants to get into that round of 32. We also had a chance to speak to Debo, of course, not in a formal setup. During there was a moment where Bafana had to just get a feel of the stadium. So we also were allowed to go there and film and take pictures. Debo came and he just said that he feels that there is enough arsenal, within the team to replace him. And he feels that Yaya Stole is capable of stepping into his shoes. Jaden Adams, he also mentioned Talente Mbata. So there is that confidence, and I think it's rubbed onto us as well who are here. We've got that confidence after speaking to these boys. So Mbogazi as well, just confident, and I mean, it's just exciting to watch.
Pray for us, Mthokozisi Dube, as we do a night vigil for Bafana Bafana. Thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate your time. We'll chat again soon. I'm sure in the next couple of hours post the game. Mthokozisi Dube, our post editor, coming through live from Monterey, giving us the latest, not only as far as the World Cup is concerned, but also from the transfer market back here in Mzansi. When I say pray, a lot of people will be doing that.
Hi, Mr. Madaw and the team. With regards to Bafana, I would like to say, instead of wishing them all the best or best wishes, I would like to advocate all of us to pray for Bafana just for some external variables, because those external variables are there. So we have to pray for Bafana to win against South Korea, and also Mexico to defeat Czech Republic. And then we march on. But we have to pray for Bafana. All the best, but still I have to pray for Bafana. David in Pargood.
External variables.